Alright guys, it's Dokkan time, and today is another how-to build video on one of the new banners. So throughout this week we'll go through all of the new banners on both the Trunks and Gohan banners respectively. But I figured today would probably be the best day to start right off with Bulma specifically, and then the Super Saiyan TEQ Carnival Goku. So, Bulma is probably what you would consider, some people would consider the #1 unit in the game. And it's for quite a few reasons. So, her 12 key super attack greatly raises attack and defense by 50%, just lowers attack. And then her 18 key also greatly raises attack and defense, and has a 50% chance to crit. So, the crazy thing about this is 50% is already more or about the same as the maximum you could potentially get out of the hidden potential system. I believe it's like a 2% chance or something like that per node for crit and additional. Or it's somewhere around that marker. But basically, you're getting more of a chance to crit out of her 18 key super than basically what you could actually get out of her hidden potential system. And she's already STR, so she starts with a 5 crit. So already, right off the bat, you're already well over 50% chance to actually crit. So just with that alone, I mean, there's no reason to give her crit whatsoever. So we don't even need to have that like procced at all. Like don't even consider crit as part of her build. But if we start looking at her passive, she has an entrance animation where she guards attacks for 7 turns. She gets 177% attack and defense, and a whole lot of key. She already gets key +4, and then she gets key +3 from the entrance animation, so that's already 7. So she starts out with, what, 6, 7? I mean, she's already at freaking 13 key from the get-go. And then she already randomly changes key spheres to rainbow key spheres. She has damage mitigation up to 77% at the start of each turn. And then she has an additional attack and defense +17 per key sphere obtained, which is insane. So basically looking over all of this, oh yeah, she also launches an additional super attack with 7 or more key spheres and buffs the entire rotation of allies for the turn that you collect 5 key spheres and the next turn. So just with that alone, she's she's double supering, she's critting, and she's a tank, and she's supporting. Yeah, there's a reason she's the #1 unit in the game. So, as well as her active skill giving her attacks effective... Oh, I'm sorry. All allies get key +7 attack and defense +70%, and attacks effective against all types for 1 turn. Ooh boy! That's a whole lot of buffs. So basically, the primary things you want to go for with her kit is specifically dodge and additional. You don't need to give her crit. In fact, if I ever find a friend unit, for whatever reason, as put as a friend unit as a Bulma, and it has any more than the initial 5 crit that she starts with, I will delete you. Because it is absolutely ridiculous to even think about putting crit into her. There's no reason to give her crit. No reason whatsoever. Give her additional, and you'll just be increasing the amount of defense she can possibly do, and a little bit more on the DPS. But most people traditionally probably are going to go for a full dodge build and then put the rest into her additional. And it's just the right way to do it. This is the right way. If you only manage to have a 55% copy of her, my suggestion would just be giving her straight up dodge. You know, give her the 5 dodge in the silver slot, give her a 2 dodge in the bronze slot. That'd just be the best way to go about it. If you feel like you want to try and throw the RNG at the additional instead, that also works perfectly fine as a 55% copy. But personally, I would just go for a full dodge build, or you can go even half and half. She is the #1 unit in the game, or at least arguably the #1 unit in the game, top 3 at the very least. And yeah, that's the only way to build her. So let's move on to the next guy, which is going to be this Goku right here. So this Goku was actually the first Carnival unit in the game. This boy started it all. He is the beginning of the Carnival units. He's pretty much what brought on, I believe this was the really big difference revival mechanic. We had other revival mechanics with like the Goku and Vegeta, and then we had like the Master Roshi, but I don't think revival effects really made a difference per se before this boy came into the picture. So let's go over his super attacks and his passive and see how you think you should build him. Because this one's a little bit more difficult. So he has greatly raises attack for 1 turn on his 12 key, and he lowers defense of the enemy. That's not a lot. That's a pretty bare minimum passive, right? Or not a passive, but a 12 key super. His 18, however, stacks defense by 30%. That's not bad, but that's it. So already he's not getting really anything beneficial from additional. I mean, 50% increase on 12 key isn't terrible. The only thing is I don't... Yeah, okay, let's just go down to his passive. So, key plus 5, attack and defense 159%, 59 because it's Goku. He has attacks effective against all types and an additional defense plus 59% within the same turn after receiving an attack. So, if you're a player that considers attacks effective against all types just flat out is the same thing or as good or almost as good as crit, then by all means you can already write off crit. You are completely entitled to how you want to build your unit. If you want to remove crit from him, I don't see why not. He also gets an additional key up to 5, an additional attack up to 59% with each attack received, and he guards all attacks when your HP is 60% or more. So make sure you keep a very sharp eye on your HP, because if you're not guarding with this guy, he has a very slow build-up with his 18 key defense stacking. So the biggest suggestion I would have is keep an eye on your HP and be very careful with him. So HP is 59% or less starting from the attacking turn, and you can revive with a 59% HP recovered when the character or another ally on the turn is KO'd, once only. And then once he revives, he guards all attacks and a high chance of performing a critical hit starting from the turn in which he revived. So he's got 50% built-in crit into his passive. So now I can 100% tell you there's no reason to give him crit, because this guy's the tank. He's a tank. That's what his purpose is. His purpose is to tank hits and then revive if absolutely necessary. And then he just guards everything and does random crits. So his active skill will disable an enemy action, but other than that, it just does a decent amount of damage. He does not have anything as far as additional dodge or critting in his link skills. They're all just attack and a very small amount of defense. So what you would probably want to do with this boy is the exact same thing as Bulma. That's why I never clicked on the crit thing again, is because you don't need to give him crit. You just don't need to give him crit. There's no reason to give him crit whatsoever. He doesn't need it. He's got it in there. Both of these two units have crit built in to them, and that's just the best way that you can really rock them. So my suggestion, though, would probably be to focus more into the additional, or perhaps do like an even split, because you got to realize that, yes, he has guard all attacks when HP is 60% or more. He does have attacks effective against all types, but he also gets an additional 59% within the same turn of receiving attack. That's a lot of extra defense. It's not what procs his guard, but that extra 59% defense really does go a long way. It just goes such a long way, and you really should think about it when you're going into a fight. So although full dodge would be the safest option, you're also taking a chance on, say, he dodges a normal, but he doesn't dodge the super, so then you missed out on 59% defense, which is a real shame because that 59% might have saved you. So, entirely up to you at the end of the day. Personally, I go for a little bit more additional than dodge. But yeah, just don't give him crit. There's no reason to give him crit. I mean, really, there's no reason to give him crit. I could say, I could understand a little bit of crit. Just a little. Only a little bit of crit. If you really wanted to. But at the same time, it's like, you know, it just... you want to focus on what's going to make the unit better or what they're going to work better in the situations. So, my suggestion would be to focus on what he's good at, and that's him taking an attack and then him tanking everything. It's not necessarily going to be him dodging every single bloody attack, because that might actually hurt him at the end of the day. And we don't want that. We don't want to die early just because he decided to dodge a whole attack. But I can definitely see the argument to going ahead and giving him more dodge than additional. But anyways, guys, that's going to be it for this video. I hope it helped you decide how you were going to build Bulma and Goku. It's going to be full dodge and an additional, or a good even split between the two. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a good day and a good night.